Midlife, the critical window for women's stroke and dementia prevention. Welcome to the Health Inquiry. Together we take a sophisticated look at health and life, deep form analysis of medical advances paired with philosophical perspectives on wellness. Today we turn our attention to a truth that reshapes how we think about prevention. Midlife, roughly ages 40 to 65, is not a plateau, but a pivotal biological crossroads for women's brain health. For too long, stroke and dementia prevention strategies have treated women and men as interchangeable. Yet the data are unequivocal. Women carry a higher lifetime risk of stroke and dementia than men. By age 65, a woman's remaining lifetime risk of either condition stands at 50%, compared with 33% for men. Beyond raw numbers, women face higher post-stroke mortality, greater disability, poorer recovery, and diminished quality of life. Why does this matter now? Because science has identified midlife, specifically the menopausal transition, as the critical window where hormonal, metabolic, vascular, and neurological forces converge. Interventions here do not merely manage symptoms, they can redirect decades of future health. This is the health spectrum in action, that dynamic continuum where we are never at perfect well-being and never at death, but always moving left toward greater vitality, or right toward decline based on daily choices. For women in midlife, the menopausal transition is a powerful inflection point on that spectrum. The good news? New evidence from 2015 to 2025, recently published in the journal Stroke, gives us precise levers to shift left, permanently. Why midlife is the biological inflection point. Midlife encompasses the menopausal transition, MT, a natural endocrine shift lasting several years during which estrogen levels fluctuate and then decline. This is not merely aging, it is a distinct cardiometabolic and neurobiological transition. Visceral fat increases, insulin sensitivity drops, LDL cholesterol rises, blood pressure edges upward, and endothelial function deteriorates. At the same time, brain imaging reveals subtle but measurable changes. Reduced glucose metabolism in Alzheimer-vulnerable regions, increased V-amyloid deposition, accumulating white matter hyperintensities, and transient cognitive vulnerabilities, especially in late perimenopause. These shifts do not occur in isolation. They interact with earlier life experiences, most notably adverse pregnancy outcomes, APOs, such as hypertensive disorders of pregnancy, gestational diabetes, and preterm birth. These conditions, once viewed as isolated obstetric events, leave a lasting vascular imprint. Women with a history of APOs show greater cerebral small vessel disease 20 to 30 years later, even when traditional risk factors are controlled. In a 2025 Swedish nationwide analysis of more than 2.2 million women followed for up to 46 years, every major APO independently raised long-term stroke risk. The message is clear. Prevention must be life course aware. Reproductive history is not background information. It is essential data for midlife risk stratification. 6 transformative advances, 2015 to 2025. Over the past decade, 6 pivotal developments have moved women's midlife brain health from neglected to prioritized. Advance 1. Guideline evolution. The 2024 American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, AHA/ASA, Primary Stroke Prevention Guidelines issued a Class 1 recommendation: screen every woman for a history of APOs. This is no longer optional, it is standard of care. Canadian and European guidelines have followed suit. Advance 2. Mechanistic breakthroughs via neuroimaging. Large cohort studies and advanced imaging now prove causation, not just correlation. The Cardia study showed women with prior preeclampsia or gestational hypertension had significantly greater white matter hyperintensity burden and accelerated cognitive decline by midlife. Fluorodeoxyglucose PET reveals an Alzheimer-like bioenergetic phenotype during perimenopause, mitochondrial dysfunction, and white matter catabolism, highlighting a biologically active window for intervention. Advance 3. Official recognition of menopause as a cardiometabolic and neurobiological transition. The 2020 AHA scientific statement crystallized what clinicians observed. MT is a distinct phase warranting proactive attention, independent of chronological age. Advance 4. Resolution of menopause hormone therapy, MHT. Controversies. The 2002 Women's Health Initiative, WHI trial, created widespread fear when it reported increased cardiovascular and breast cancer risks with oral conjugated equine estrogens plus medroxyprogesterone in older women, average age 63. Reanalyses and newer trials, ELITE, KEEPS, clarified the timing hypothesis. When initiated within 10 years of menopause onset and in women without contraindications, MHT, particularly low-dose transdermal estradiol, offers a favorable safety profile for vasomotor symptom relief and may confer vascular benefit without the stroke risk seen with oral formulations in older cohorts. Cognitive trials in younger women show neither harm nor sustained benefit, underscoring that MHT is primarily for symptom management, not dementia prevention. Individualization, based on symptom severity, time since menopause, route of administration, and baseline vascular risk, is now the standard. Advance 5. Integrated lifetime risk assessment with biomarkers. Traditional 10-year risk calculators miss women's long-term trajectory. The Women's Health Study, nearly 28,000 women, 30-year follow-up, demonstrated that 3 midlife biomarkers, high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, HSCRP, LDL cholesterol, and lipoprotein A, LPA, each predict 15 to 30% higher 30-year stroke risk. Women with multiple elevations faced 2.4-fold risk. LPA is especially powerful because it is genetically determined and stable across life. A single midlife measurement, ages 40-55, provides lifetime stratification. Advance 6. Sex-specific exercise physiology. Postmenopausal women derive greater vascular benefit from physical activity than premenopausal women. Combined aerobic and resistance training counters visceral adiposity, preserves lean mass, and improves insulin sensitivity, the very metabolic shifts accelerated by MT. Practical midlife assessment. What every woman and her clinician should consider. The paper proposes a streamlined, comprehensive evaluation. 1. Reproductive history, APOs, parity, age at menopause. 2. Menopausal transition stage and symptoms, vasomotor, sleep, mood. 3. Cardiometabolic profile, blood pressure, lipids, HbA1c, BMI. 4. Biomarkers, HSCRP, LPA, LDL. 5. Lifestyle factors, activity, diet, sleep, social connections. 6. Personalized MHT eligibility when vasomotor symptoms impair quality of life. These data points, captured once in midlife and integrated into electronic health records, can transform population-level outcomes. Closing the implementation gap. Despite the evidence, fewer than 30% of eligible women receive reproductive history screening. Fear lingers from the early WHI misinterpretation. Many providers still dismiss midlife cognitive complaints as just menopause. The authors call for health system adaptation, provider education, pragmatic trials, and midlife women's brain health clinics that bridge neurology, cardiology, gynecology, and primary care. Digital tools for symptom tracking and the Brain Care Score offer scalable self-management. A philosophical perspective on empowerment. Health is never merely the absence of disease. It is the dynamic ability to realize goals, meet needs, and adapt, exactly as the World Health Organization framed it decades ago. For women, midlife is not a time of inevitable decline but an invitation to agency. By screening for APOs, assessing MT status, measuring the right biomarkers, and applying personalized lifestyle and, when appropriate, hormonal strategies, we are not treating menopause. We are honoring the life course. Every small, consistent choice, better sleep tonight, a resistance training session tomorrow, a meaningful conversation that reduces loneliness, nudges you left on your personal health spectrum. These choices compound. They protect not only your brain, but the decades of vitality you deserve. What is one small action you will take this week to move left on your spectrum? Perhaps schedule that midlife checkup that includes reproductive history and LPA, or commit to 2 resistance sessions and 1 Mediterranean meal each day. Share in the comments. I read every one. If this deep dive into women's midlife brain health resonated, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Together, we are building a community of lifelong learners who refuse to accept outdated prevention models. Your future brain, and the women you love, will thank you.